I want to talk now a little bit some of these key challenges in achieving infrastructure visibility. And I want to start by talking about kind of your fragmented tools and lack of integration. And so, question is, what are the primary barriers to integrating disparate security tools, and how can organizations overcome them to achieve more of a unified visibility across those endpoints, cloud, and network?
One of the main barriers is what I mentioned earlier, the budget and the expertise. Right? You need people who are experts in these different systems and in integrating them, and you need to have experts who have the time and the tools required to get all these integrated systems talking to each other, because they're really not built necessarily to communicate with each other. And pulling it all together in a way that you can apply threat intelligence to is not an easy task at all.
So how does this fragmentation specifically impact small and medium-sized businesses, and what role can solutions like XDR play in addressing these challenges?
Yeah, so what you end up with is, either an ineffective security solution because it can't be implemented properly, or you've got something that is rapidly growing expensive because you're looking for experts and these big enterprise type services to fill in these gaps for you. And so having a unified system that's designed to look at all these different parts of your network collectively as one product and one bill ends up being a lot easier to implement, and it can also help ease that budget burden too, right? Because you have one place to look instead of 8 different solutions, for example.
Now, the cloud is another area. Your cloud environment, your workloads, your APIs, crown jewels for application developers, for SaaS companies, for AI companies. How do organizations manage the high costs and paywall barriers of comprehensive cloud logging and platforms like 365 and AWS while still maintaining strong visibility?
It's good you mentioned the paywall barriers, because I think something not a lot of people realize is that, while you can get services on AWS like their web app firewall or their log analysis, if you look at the details of that contract, like everything else on AWS, it's a cost per usage. So you're not paying, one price to look at something. You're paying based on how many rules you implement. So number one, if you're budget limited, now you're rules limited. So they can make some pretty difficult decisions around budget if you're looking at, okay, how do I balance how much money I have and making sure that I've got all of the tools and things that I need to monitor my O365 or my AWS. So it can get pretty difficult. A lot of organizations end up turning to a third-party service or an MSP to handle that, especially because a lot of them can get discounts.
And how does XDR help to overcome these limitations to close that visibility gap?
Having a different system that's not based on how many rules you have, how many events you're monitoring, one can really help with the budget. Right now, you're not limited by your concern for where you're looking. You're able to actually see as much of your environment as you can within a reasonable budget. And having it in one platform helps too, because now you're looking at it in one place instead of logging into 5 or 6 different consoles.
So I want to talk one other challenge here, and that's around your embedded systems, your IoT devices. Given that these systems often lack support for traditional security tools, how can organizations effectively monitor and secure those assets, given that that's where the attackers are pivoting to?
People typically have an EDR, an endpoint detection system in place right now. As we talked about, attackers are moving more towards cloud embedded IoT systems because those are becoming more popular, and those are becoming the business critical systems as well. So what you need here is, again, monitoring. Now, we just talked about how the cloud tools can be expensive and cumbersome. So having another unified system in there that has those integrations built out for the cloud, bringing that into your centralized system is really the next step, a better step than dealing with these things in silos.